Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Pro Wrestling Throwdown. This is the September 11th, 2020 special Friday night edition. I am Caleb Black. This is Luke, the Big Dog Williams, and it's time to talk about Monday Night Raw.
Live from Cheyenne tonight. We're not really in Cheyenne.
Raw is a show that comes on Mondays that used to be really, really, really entertaining, and now it is really, 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 really not. We opened the show with,
I don't know, to be fair, there was some highlights.
There were some highlights. We're going to get into it right now. We opened the show with a Randy Orton promo, talking about how Drew McIntyre should just come out and lay the title at his feet. McIntyre shows up, hits him with a Claymore. Adam Pearce sends him away. I'm loving the Orton-McIntyre feud. This does the business it's required to do. It makes McIntyre look like he's not just standing around waiting for Randy Orton to RKO him.
Yes.
It puts McIntyre on the offensive, and often I don't like to see babyface champions on the offensive, but I'm digging this.
Yeah, I am too.
So I gave that a 3. How about you, Luke?
I believe I gave it a 3 as well.
You did. Next, we get into a 6-man tag match. Apollo Crews, Ricochet, and Cedric Alexander against the Hurt Business. The team of Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin. Cedric Alexander ends up turning on Ricochet and Apollo Crews.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Allowing the Hurt Business to take the win. I like this bit of business. I like that it's been a misdirect with the Hurt Business trying to recruit Apollo Crews, and instead it was Cedric Alexander who joined them. I love that. I love that. I love that bit of business.
I think is the perfect guy of those three to jump ship.
Agreed. I like Apollo Crews standing his ground. I don't think Ricochet has a heel bone in his body.
I think
for the audience
perspective.
I think
the face Ricochet versus heel Cedric Alexander is going to turn heads first off.
Agreed, yeah.
And I think that if you want to press it further on down the line, having Ricochet go heel and join him would be huge heel heat.
Yeah, I totally agree. I gave that match a 3.
I give it a 2.5. Nothing against the match itself. I'm more of the shock value was good, but I expected more.
Yeah. The Street Profits then defend their Raw Tag Team titles against Garza and Andrade in a match we've seen 31 times in the last 3.5 months.
One thing that is new, Garza walks out.
Garza leaves Andrade and Zelina Vega by himself. And then Street Profits pick up the win.
Oh, of course.
And then Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro show up and challenge them to a champion versus champion match next week's Raw.
Yeah, it almost reminded me of the whole, speaking of Apollo.
Yeah.
The whole ding ding Rocky moment.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, we're here.
We're here.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
I love it. I loved it.
I'm looking forward to the match. I like the way they built it up. I gave the match and the segment all collectively a 3. I'm sorry, I gave it a 2.
I also gave it a 2. Honestly, it wasn't the promo.
No,
the match,
it was the match. It was having to see the match again.
But counting it all in together, the promo gave more of the 2 than the match did.
Agreed, 100%.
But I'm looking forward to the hype. Tag match being next week's Raw. Yep. I'm down. Sign me up.
Yeah. Billie Kay then wrestles Peyton Royce in a singles match. Peyton Royce picks up the victory, sending Billie Kay away. I gave it a 1. And that's not because I'm not a fan of both of them. The match just wasn't very good.
I gave it a 1 because I am a fan of both of them.
Right.
I think that taking one and writing the other one off TV is a huge mistake.
Like we've said before, and here's the thing. We called for them to split them up before.
Yes.
But we wanted them to split them up in a way that made them both look good.
I wanted one to either go to Raw or SmackDown.
Right.
Or I wanted one just to stop in-ring competition, manage the other one.
Right. And now, again, it bears repeating, we have no more tag teams in the women's tag team division. Between Sasha and Bayley breaking up last week, between the dissension between Alexa and Nikki on SmackDown, between not having Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, and between Kairi Sane having gone back to Japan...
You're right.
We don't have any women's tag teams. Shayna Baszler and
Not legitimate tag teams.
Not legitimate tag teams. Natty and Lana are going to build themselves up to it.
Yes.
But they're not going to beat Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, and no one should buy that they would.
No, yeah.
So the women's tag team division is in desperate need.
But, yeah, as a fan of Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, I give it a 1.
Yeah, I gave it a 1 as well. We then get a promo between Dominic Guerrero, Mysterio, and Murphy. The promo itself...
Max, you're represented whether you're here or not.
That's right. The promo itself doesn't do anything other than set up for their match at the end of the night.
Correct.
I gave it a 2.
I gave it a 1.5.
Not that it was a bad promo. There just wasn't a whole lot of meat on the bone.
I gave it a 1.5 because I think it's really starting to become played out. Either you're gonna give Mysterio the win, or you're not gonna give him the win. But let's move on.
Yeah. Then we lead into Asuka and Mickie James taking on Natty and Lana in a tag match. I gave this match a 1. You gave it a 1.5.
I gave it a 1.5. It would have been I would have gave it higher, but it felt like it was a dream of mine that I had months ago, and it just didn't turn out the same way.
Here's the thing: Mickie James is back fresh on TV. She took most of the heat for this match, and honestly, that's what not needed to be happening.
Right.
Especially considering that Mickie is now going to wrestle Asuka for the women's title next week. Mickie really should have had a strong showcase against two women who aren't a seasoned tag team together. Asuka should have done the same thing. This should have been a clean sweep for the both of them.
Yeah, I agree. I think that with Mickie James, the history of Mickie James in WWE makes her, in my opinion, and should be in Vince McMahon and everybody else's opinion, a viable threat to Asuka's title.
Her experience, her tenure, her physical ability.
And
absolutely.
Instead, they've done nothing but bury her since she's come back.
And that's been just that's been a Mickie James tale of her career.
First Cena, now creative.
Yeah. I gave this match a 1. Like I said, Asuka and Mickie James did win. I am excited, though.
1.5.
I am excited, though, to see what happens next week between Asuka and Mickie.
No, and
the
here's
singles
the deal.
match will be good.
If it's a match, it's going to be good. If it's another burial, it's going to be a waste of everyone's time.
That I completely agree with. We then double back, and Cedric Alexander appears in the VIP lounge.
Because we need more her business.
You know how before we were complaining about too much Zelina Vega on Raw killing Raw? Too much MVP on Raw hurts Raw.
Too much MVP on Raw hurts MVP.
That's a much better way to say it.
Because MVP in doses, in the right doses, is phenomenal. But you can only push the subject
if you
so many times.
oversaturate it, especially with a faction like this, you get go home heat.
Now I get like if it was a backstage promo or something,
sure,
where it's like, oh, here he comes, here's our new guy.
But then that's the unbelievable part. MVP was scheduled in this match and scheduled to do his talk show later. Where now we're going to televise the fact that Cedric Alexander, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing real about it. If they'd have been in the back, like you said, and MVP and the Hurt Business were lamenting over their loss,
or drinking champagne,
celebrating their victory, and then Cedric came up and was like, "Pour me a glass."
Yeah,
and then they
like
toasted, and MVP's the stogie in the mouth. I love it when a plan comes together. So, that is how you sell this idea. You don't bring them all back out in this parade, set the whole thing back up.
Honestly, that is exactly how a plan should come together.
Agreed. And then...
What did we rate that?
The promo itself, I gave it a 1. You gave it a 1.5.
I gave it a 1.5.
Because you like Cedric turning heel.
Well, not only that, I agree with you. MVP and doses...
Good.
The oversaturation
in this particular promo was good.
Yeah,
but
it really
if they'd done this promo in another way earlier on the top of the show, but then we get this convoluted thing where now... The Viking Raiders have interrupted, and Cruz and Ricochet are back out here. So now we have an 8-man tag match as the runoff from a 6-man tag match that happened an hour before.
On top of a Hurt Business promo.
Right, on top of the Hurt Business promo. And then the Hurt Business wins again.
So in other words, they took up 45 minutes and
collectively,
same basic 6 wrestlers.
The same basic 6 wrestlers, only to show that the Hurt Business is getting over. Which they should be, but you should only have to tell us that one time for us to get the message.
Hello, WWE. Same as the old WWE.
Watch our show. Yeah. Take our ideas. Fucking please. However, the 8-man tag match was very good. For the match content itself, I gave it a 3.
I believe I gave it a 3 as well. Yes.
You got to see some really...
In case you're wondering, I have all my stuff written down.
Yeah, like you said... Heel Cedric Alexander's athleticism matched against Cruz and Ricochet is very entertaining.
It works, it flows. Yeah. I mean, you can't ask for better.
If they continue, especially into like a nice singles feud between respectively Cruz and or Ricochet against Alexander, take my money.
Throw the 24/7 title in there, throw R-Truth in there, really get it popping.
Yeah. Then we get into Keith Lee and Randy Orton. Randy Orton wins by DQ after taking yet another Claymore from Drew McIntyre.
Let's just bury Keith a little further.
Well, Keith, the thing with Keith Lee is he comes in like a hot iron rod off of NXT. They do nothing with him. Now, when I say they do nothing with him, he's wrestled Randy Orton twice now. Number 1 guy. He's been in the Fatal 4-Way. He was in the Fatal 4-Way. But Keith Lee, you don't just hotshot a guy like that into a top feud with a top guy and have him lose.
You know what names that reminds me of?
What's that?
Aleister Black, Eric Young.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Robert Roode.
Andrade, when he made his main roster debut. The Viking Raiders, when they came. AOP, when they came.
We're going to bring you in, and you're going to be big, and then 3 weeks later, it's like, who are you?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Hot-shotting Keith Lee into a feud with Randy Orton and having him lose was the wrong decision. And we saw that here. And again, I am digging the back and forth between McIntyre and Orton with the RKOs and the Claymore kicks out of nowhere versus out of nowhere, blah, blah, blah. But I don't want that to hurt Keith Lee, and them interjecting him here, the way they're doing it, in my opinion, is hurting Keith Lee.
The best thing they could do right now is this, of course, sets up for a Raw in your face next week. Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre on title.
Which is going to be great, but Orton's going to interfere.
Turn Lee heel.
Oh, man.
Make him Orton's muscle.
Absolutely. That's a brilliant idea. I didn't even think about that. Good job.
Till Edge comes back.
As you guys know, I'm sorry, I rated that match a 2. Luke gave it a 2 as well.
I gave it a 2 as well, yes.
As you know, we rate Underground all the way together. I rated it as a 1. I'll be honest, I didn't even take that many notes, and I don't really remember what happened.
It was Aleister Black and Kevin Owens. It was a bunch of nothing. Babatunde steps in, slaps somebody around.
Yeah.
It's a concept that should have been the hottest thing they could possibly have.
2 people beat Shayna Baszler, but I don't remember who the 2 were.
And they basically turned it into the Jasmine Duke, Babatunde show, where every week it's the same thing with no flash ending. There's no point in it. Either make it better or stop it.
Did you notice we didn't see Retribution on this Raw?
We didn't see Retribution at SummerSlam
or at SmackDown.
Yeah, it was a way to fill time for Roman Reigns.
However, we can talk about this main event though. Dominic and Murphy delivered.
Yes,
Dominic, that beautiful sunset flip, through the rope sunset flip powerbomb Murphy through a table.
Here's what I'm gonna say: when you look at the card and you see Murphy and you see Dominic, you see the name Mysterio. Period.
Right.
If you don't believe that you're about to see something special, you're stupid.
Agreed.
Anytime you see Mysterio on the banner, regardless of which one, and if you didn't think Murphy was somebody, your opinion doesn't matter to me.
You're missing out big time. Murphy's incredible.
Young kid, young guy in the business. They're both hungry. They're both willing to prove something, and they did. They nailed it on.
And Dominic getting. Of course, they have the Guerrero family, or Mysterio. Damn it! Now I'm doing it accidentally. Mm-hmm. The Mysterio family beat down after the match with the kendo sticks. Hopefully, this is the end. Hopefully now we move into Dominic and Rollins and we get it out of the way.
Well, Raw in your face next week, cage match.
Yeah. So, but Dominic is looking better and better every week.
Dominic, they all keep playing this whole thing like these are his first wrestling matches. We all know he's been in the developmental program, probably under a hood this whole time.
Yeah.
Working and getting
Not to mention traveling with his father, learning firsthand from his family. But Rey
Mysterio was off before the whole Iron thing and everything. Yeah. He was off for quite a while due to contract negotiations.
Which he negotiated heavily for Dominic.
He probably negotiated from the ring of their home in their backyard.
Not to mention, Rey Mysterio owns his own luchador promotion in Mexico.
He also owns Eddie Guerrero's ring.
Yeah, so Dominic's getting experience. It's showing. He's looking great. He's going to be a future star. I gave this match a 3 out of 5, or 3.5 out of 5. Luke rated it at a 4. I stand by that. That leaves my overall rating for Raw at a 2.5. Luke, yours was a 2. So.
And it's sad that the whole show was a 2 because there was, like I said at the beginning of this thing, highlights.
There were very good parts of Raw, and then we just get into this point where Raw runs on way too long.
It shifts. The low parts out.
Less promos, more wrestling. Go back to a 2-hour format, and Raw would be the best show on television.
Please.
If you cut out all the BS promos and they just use the matches that were tonight and filled...
If MVP and them wasn't on TV for an entire hour.
Yeah, put it down for 2 hours, less promos, more wrestling. I guarantee you people will talk as positively about Raw as they do about SmackDown.
Make Raw Underground better.
Completely agree. # make Raw Underground great again. Guys, that cuts us up for Raw. Make sure to find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ProWrestlingThrowdown. Send us an email at ProWrestlingThrowdown@gmail.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a comment down below what you thought about Raw, and stay tuned, because Friday night, the Smacketh Downeth is up next.
One of us.